Well, so far we have completed the breathing and respiration introduction, also the differences between breathing and respiration. Now it's time to understand about human respiratory system. Highly essential, as like the other segments. I cannot say that this is quite less important for your board examination, so we cannot ignore it. So let's, without wasting any time, go for it. So human respiratory system, clear? Right now you have that air, okay, and that air is going to enter your body through the nose and mouth, clear? So air enters the body through the nasal cavity. So there is a specific part, this is called nostrils, or you can say nasal cavity. So where it is warmed, clear, then it is getting moistened, and then it is getting filtered. First of all, it is getting be warm, then become moistened, then basically filtered. Now coming to the second part of the respiratory system, that is pharynx and larynx. The pharynx is also known as kind of throat, you can say, simply throat. So basically the pharynx guides, it will guide the air into the larynx. And larynx is nothing else, that is your voice box. जो air आपके अंदर भी जा रहा है, किसके पास आया अभी? pharynx के पास. तो pharynx उसको guide कर लेगा. कहाँ तक? larynx तक. Clear? Now coming to trachea. So it is also known as the windpipe. These are all important MCQs. Clear? Pharynx is also known as dash. Larynx is also called as dash. Trachea is also known as dash. Like that. So it is also known as windpipe. So it is having some kind of rings of cartilage that is actually preventing the collapse. That means there should not be any kind of collapse in between the passage of air from the nose or from the mouth to the whole windpipe. Clear? And which are preventing us? The rings of cartilage present in trachea. They are actually helping here. They're actually helping for the prevention of the collapse. Okay. Then it splits. Then the trachea actually splits into main branches. Two main branches. This is called bronchi. Clear? Now coming to bronchi and bronchioles. So the bronchi enters the lungs and continuously or maybe continually, you can say, smaller tree-like tubes called the bronchioles. Now after getting the splitting of trachea, you will get the bronchi. Here you will get the bronchi. Now the bronchi is actually connected to lungs. Then it is continuously to the smaller tree-like tubes. This is called bronchioles. Means small bronchi will be called as bronchioles. Clear? Now this is the actual part of human respiratory system. But here, after completion of this particular segment, the air is actually entering into lungs, because lungs is the hero of this particular system. Now coming to lungs and alveoli. This word is highly essential. You are going to understand soon after. Just wait for the patience. Lungs and alveoli. The lungs is the main organ of the respiration. And at the end of the bronchioles, there are millions of tiny grape-like air-like structure. Grape. Okay. अंगूर के गुच्छे जो बोलते हैं हम लोग. Clear? Grape-like structure. This is called alveoli. If it is singular, alveolus. If it is many, alveoli. So what we understood, basically the air is already entered to lungs. Okay. But just the end of bronchioles, we have millions of air-like structure or maybe tiny grape-like air shake. मतलब थैली. This is called alveoli. And in this particular segment only, the gases is exchanged. Now coming to gas exchange. Which gas? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. So alveoli are in a dense of a tiny blood vessels. And the blood vessels basically means capillaries. This particular blood vessel segment we are going to discuss in transportation part. Clear? By that time we are going to understand artery, vein, capillaries. But right now just remember that capillaries is a kind of blood vessels where they're actually transporting such things. Such things means what? The gas will be exchanged. Clear? Now coming to next part. Star mark important. Oxygen diffuses across the thin walls of the alveoli into the blood, while carbon dioxide from the blood cross over to be exhaled. By the time oxygen is getting to be diffused, same time carbon dioxide from the whole body, it is getting to be exhaled. Exhale means it will be let out. Now coming to muscles of respiration. There are two things you are going to understand under this particular line. that is your diaphragm and intercostal muscles. Clear? So let us understand diaphragm. A large dome shaped, dome, you understood, dome like tambu ke tarah, a large dome shaped muscle located just below the lungs, just below the lungs, and when it contracts and flattens, it creates a vacuum that pulls air into the lungs. जब ये contract होगा at the same time flatten हो जाएगा, तब हम कह सकते हैं कि जो air हमारी बॉडी के अंदर चला जा रहा है, means inhalation is actually happening at this particular line. One more time, a large, okay, दिखने में बड़ा सा dome shaped muscle located just below the lungs, clear, and when it contracts and flattens, it creates a vacuum. Vacuum means we can say suction pressure, like that. Then it pulls air into the lungs. So when air enters into the lungs, it will be called as inhale or inhalation. The process is called as inhalation. Now coming to the second muscle, that is intercostal muscles, and these are the muscles between your ribs. Ribs means इसको हम पिंजरे बोलते हैं, I think पिंजरे, guys. You like this, ribs, okay, ribs, okay. So these are the muscles present in your between your ribs, and they help the actually expandation and also the contraction of the chest cavity. Okay, how basically your chest cavity will expand and contract will decide the ribs, and where it is basically located, the intercostal or the muscles is responsible for that. Now something is need to be remembered in this particular system, that is PTR, points to be remembered. During breathing cycle, when air is taken in and let out, when air is taken in and let out, the lungs always contain a residual volume. Sir, what is the meaning of residual volume? That means during the exchange of gases, there should not be any minimum of gas or any minimum of oxygen which is going to be insufficient, for which your body is going to be trouble, or maybe you are going to be a deep respiratory pigments, problematic things is going to be happen. So during the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, at least you should have some balancing things. Balancing things means the residual volume should be available for yourself, so that you can accumulate all these things, through which the further process can be easily proceeding. Clear? So that there is a sufficient time for the oxygen to be absorbed and for the carbon dioxide is to be released. मान लो आपके घर में एलपीजी है, एक ही सिलेंडर, वो खत्म हो गया, क्लियर, आप क्या करोगे? दूसरा बुक कर लोगे. अगर दूसरा नहीं आया तो problematic things. If you have available or one backup things, then even if one LPG gas will be finished, then by that time you can use the second one. So like that, it is telling you, you must have some kind of residual volume in your body. That means it is automatically happening in your body, so that by the time of oxygen is going to be absorbed and the carbon dioxide is going to be released, is going to be happen perfectly. Second thing, so in human beings, basically we don't have kind of dependable things on the whole system. We must require a respiratory pigment, and that respiratory pigment is actually hemoglobin, shortly known as Hg, hemoglobin. Clear? And is present in RBC, red blood corpuscles, or cells also you can say. And basically hemoglobin has a strong affinity. Affinity means attraction, जो कि easily grab कर सकता है. ओके, किसको? ऑक्सीजन को. बट ऑक्सीजन से पहले अगर किसी को ग्रैब कर लेगा वो कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी आर कीप टेलिंग टू द सोसाइटी, इट्स बिंग अवेयरनेस, वी शुड अवॉइड द कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड गैस as much as we can. Clear? Because it is highly affinity towards hemoglobin. If hemoglobin attracts the carbon monoxide, so by the time of oxygen is getting to your body, into your body, back then we cannot do anything. Clear? So carbon dioxide is more soluble than oxygen in water. This is the star mark line. Remember that. How basically they are releasing or exchanging each other means, you remember that. Tell one answer. Carbon dioxide is more soluble than in oxygen, than as compared to oxygen in water. So they are releasing in the dissolved form through the blood. That's the point. And what are the most important point? Hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment. It has a high affinity towards oxygen. But if the comparison will ask you, then carbon monoxide will be more affinity as compared to oxygen, then followed by carbon dioxide. So this is all about the human respiratory system. I hope you understand. If anything I need to improvise in this video or maybe for the upcoming videos, then do let me know in the comment box. Thank you.